and I'll give you guys the introduction. So the three of you have been traveling for some time, and it's a classic case of you'll know it when you see it. The large tenement building that you've kind of been zeroing in on. As you get close enough, you kind of breach the boundary between the normal world and the hollow, and everything twists and turns and feels a little bit more sour. And you realize that this tenement building, which previously looked burned down, half collapsed, is now structurally whole again. And there's this awful green aura hanging about the windows. Um, and as you come close and you step into the door, you get the lovely voiceover narration kind of reminding you what you know about this guy, which is the landlord was a wicked fucker long before hunger put its roots into him. He was a tenement hustler, sucking money out of the destitute in exchange for rickety floors, leaky ceilings, fire-trapped stairwells, and walls riddled with moths. Already greedy, his want soon grew unsustainable, and he started to take more than cash from his tenants. Fistfuls of hair to sell to the mattress stuffers, loose teeth for the scrimshawmen, blood for the gardeners to help their crops grow strong. Maybe the odd child went missing here or there, passed on to bolster a regimental fief. Nothing they'd miss, he'd think, at the rate they were pushing out progeny. Disease ran rampant through the ranks of his residents, spurred on by poor hygiene and heartbreak, and as death claimed more and more, he doubled his demands on those that survived. Families fell apart, and isolation reigned. All the better, thought the landlord, to keep his lonely, lowly charges underneath his heel. A score of solitary prisoners bound in their houses lived in fear of his approach. When the flats collapsed and trapped him under shattered bricks and splinters, he was borne to the hollow on wings of rot. Half punishment and half reward, his hinterland existence brims with predatory plenty. He still stalks the halls of his tumble-down domain, searching for something to take, and the ravenous burning in his belly will never be satisfied. But now he's operating under no pretenses. He eats his tenants, or the shadowy reflections of them that he's dreamed into being. His filthy claws ransack torsos for choice organs, or he'll stuff wretches whole and writhing into his swollen guts. The moths have become agents of his avarice, and lay down their young in the warm darkness of lung and throat, adults adorning the foreheads of those overwhelmed and too far gone to move. Now, all he wants is what he's owed. Sit still. So as you pass through the door and into this tenement building, and as you step in, dust clouds up briefly, and as your eyes clear, you see that it's just a maze of twisting passages, shattered brick and molding, and the air damp and fetid around you. And as you stumble through the gloom, you hear a noise. And this figure, this tall, emaciated, gaunt figure, half seen in the shadows, steps forward and just says, "Oh, my chickens. Father's here coming to collect." And it's time for us to begin the game with a little roll of initiative. How we do initiative in this is pretty simple. Each of you is going to make a sharp check against the landlord's ranged defense, which is 13. I've already put in for each of you what you'll be rolling, which is sharp, and then I've put in the target number, 13, of his ranged defense. So the way the system works is you'll want to try to roll your stat value or under. So for Dismas, your stat of sharp is 12. And for Orkiv, it's 11. For Secundus, it's 8. Right? So trying to roll under that will help you succeed. If you get the number exactly, it's a critical success. And then finally, if you get a number that is equal to or below your stat value and above the target number, which is not going to be the case for any of you, you'll get a superior success. So you think about it kind of like a blackjack system, trying to get as close as possible to your stat without going over. Any questions before we kick things off?
No.
All right. Dismas, go ahead and give us a roll on your sharp, and let's
Sure.
see what happens. It's a success. Well done.
Okay,
So,
another roll success.
perfect. So, you get a choice now. You get to either place yourself in any spot on the grid that you like, or you can choose to go before the entity in the combat order.
I would like to go before him.
Perfect. Sounds good. All right. So, knife and pistol. I'm going to go ahead and just leave you right over there in range right. Tell us what it looks like. So as Dismas enters and makes a beeline into the battlefield, what do we see?
So he's kind of a scrawny, kind of rough guy. Looks like somebody who grew up on the streets and has never really left it. And he basically, comes scrambling, and his first impulse is to try and flank around and get behind this guy. So he
Perfect.
just kind of ducks low and scrambles over to his right.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, you see the head of this thing kind of tilt a little bit in your direction, but it doesn't make any moves to counter your movement. Orkiv, go ahead and give us a roll. Success.
Yay!
You know the deal. Do you want to place yourself, or would you like to go before?
Orchid is going to place himself, and he is going to skitter through like the little slimy bastard that he is. It's just like imagine cut me on throat Dibbler from the Discworld books. Imagine just like yeah, I can get you. The body it might not fit in a coffin, but what's an extra limb when you're dead? Um, and he's just going to place himself in rear,
Ooh, okay.
scuttling under the legs of the landlord and just skittering around, hiding among the moths and the rats, and just
Perfect.
sliding under.
All right, so you shoulder a couple of moths out of the way, and they give you dirty looks, but you're able to get in there no trouble. And then Secundus, go ahead and give us your roll. A critical
Nice.
success. All right,
Very nice.
here's
That's
what
very silly.
here's what you get then. So first of all, place yourself anywhere on the grid you like, and perfect right there in front. You will go before the entity, and on your turn, you're going to get an extra maneuver on your first turn. So tell us what it looks like as we see Secundus enter the field.
So Secundus is like a tall, wiry fellow with a soiled tabard, scarred face. Is probably in his 30s, but looks like he's in his 50s, and he carries a massive. It looks like a scepter for a priest, but it probably weighs as much as a smaller member of the group, kind of lugging it on the shoulder and lumbers forward, kind of building up momentum like a charging bull to go straight at the entity.
Beautiful, beautiful. And lest we forget, each of you are carrying two weapons that hate you. Right? Let's not mince words, right? And they're all whispering in the backs of your mind things. So the knife is whispering things about how everyone's just completely just dismissing you out of hand. They're always going to just undervalue what you bring to the group. Let's show them. And the bludgeon is just like, oh, they're all laughing at you. They think you're stupid. They think you're just a brilliant. Let's see how much they laugh when you knock their goddamn teeth down their throat, and so on and so forth. So all of you have these little whispering voices in the backs of your throats. Usually, when I'm running a longer campaign, I will assign the players to take on the voices of other players' weapons. But
Right.
we'll get there eventually. But so the very first things that happen then, Dismas or Secundus, one of you can go first. Whoever would like to start.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. If you don't have a strong preference, then I think to start with, uh, let's see, trying to claim a terrain tag. Let's see, elevated. I know I just saw it on here. Elevated was strong, was it?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, I'm not real good at that. So as much as I'd like to be at altitude, I think I'm just going to open up. Let me see if there's care about here at this point.
So things like you
Um,
can. use for your character. If you don't want to like spend actions doing anything other
Hmm.
than like attacking and moving, you can also
Right.
focus, which will give you
Right.
advantage.
That's what I was just looking at. I have a list over here on. I was
Okay.
Yeah.
getting ready to run one of the Grisham Prior ones here. So I think I will focus and then just take a pistol shot at this guy and see how it works when we open
Perfect. Do you want to use your focus on this attack, or do you want to save it for later?
it. Why don't I go ahead and use it now? I can only have one.
Perfect.
That was actually something that wasn't clear in the rules. I didn't know if you had to use it on the next attack or if it could be saved. So that's good to
Yeah, you can
know. Is
absolutely save
there
it. Yep.
okay? Is there a mechanism on the sheet to roll with advantage, or should I just roll twice?
You'll just roll twice, and so
Okay.
okay, and so it's the same thing. You are still in
Yep.
ranged.
It is still against sharp. Yep.
Yep. So go ahead and just roll sharp twice, and we'll pick
Hmm.
whichever of those two options. All right, success. That's good. That's a good start.
All
Failure.
right. I think I'll take the success.
Oh, will you? Okay, got it.
Hmm.
So on
Yeah.
your sheet, under pistol, there are three check boxes you have for capacity. Mark one of them off so we
Hmm.
can remember.
Yep.
And the pistol that you've chosen does two resolve damage. So I'll go ahead and
All
mark
right.
off two resolve for the landlord. And because you have scored a hit on the landlord, we're going to put a threat here in the room with you.
Oh, goody.
Why are people so worried about threat? Threat is just it's the threat is simply a way to keep track of where the entity is paying attention. And it
Yes, I'm the most fragile of us. It is of concern to me.
well, that's excellent news because he's going to now use the threat as an
I'm shocked.
interrupt. So
Shocked.
so at the end of your turn, he goes and spends this threat, and what he's going to do is he's as your shot kind of just passed through, and he jerked himself out of the way, and you could just feel this malevolent gaze level at you, and he just kind of takes in a deep breath and just starts coughing this awful phlegmatic cough, and this burst of moths spews from his mouth and rockets right at you. What I'm going to need you to do, dear Dismas, is you're going to
Hmm.
make a hard check, a hard check with a target number of 10, and
I get
um, and we're going to basically see if you can avoid getting those moths inside your
Mhm.
body.
Would you like a tip,
Sure.
this man? You have dodge on your knife.
Yes. Oh, that's right. I did have a thing. That's what I get for treating Billy Dawn. Like I knew
Hi,
that.
Chris.
Thanks, Alex. You're the best. Love you.
Yeah.
So now I will point out
Well,
that is
I.
a once per round thing. But that then again, what are the odds there's going to be
Mhm.
more threat in your area? It's going to be fine. So don't worry about it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So if you would prefer not to test with
I
hard, you could
I
use your
I
dodge.
would be happy to spend a resolve and use quick instead.
Perfect. Okay, go ahead and mark off your resolve if you
Mark
would.
that off. Come over here. Let's try that again.
Perfect. Okay, okay. It's a
Oh, that's much better.
it's a superior success. So yeah, these moths come spinning out at you, and you just dodge out of the way, and the moths just kind of face plant into the wall next to you, and they all very slowly slide to the ground, and the landlord
Take
just kind
those
of
as a plague.
you can hear his lip curl, and he snarls some
Hmm.
sort of awful landlord's epithet at you, and you feel glad you don't speak landlord. Um, we now have Secundus. Secundus, you also get to go before, and you, because you got your critical success, get to take three actions on your turn.
Okay. And is there a limit on the number of times you can attack?
Just once per turn, yes.
Okay. So I think I'll do a maneuver to go to flank right.
All right?
If I can go to an adjacent spot, right?
Absolutely, yep.
Okay. Trying to
Oh, Google
find
Sheets,
where
yeah.
that will.
Click first. Just click on your token once, then do
Uh-huh.
a click drag and bring it to where you want it to go.
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
there we go.
So I'll do that, and then I will focus myself,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm gonna come with a big overhand swing to attack with the bludgeon,
Ooh,
and
okay.
I will go ahead and immediately use my focus
Perfect. Okay.
to see it in my.
So you're in close. So we're going to change the target number of this to 9. And it turns out that the landlord, as wicked a fucker as he is not so good in a close-up fight. So go ahead and yeah, roll twice, and we'll see how that looks. That's pretty
Good
good.
opener.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay.
Forgiving if not consistent.
All right. So you smash. So that's going to be 3 wounds. 3 wounds for this guy. Now, because you have the massive bludgeon, I believe. Let me see if I'm correct. Yeah.
Mhm.
So you have to mark a resolve to make that attack. But
Yep,
yeah.
I have
So
done so.
perfect. Okay. So yeah, where do you club him with your bludgeon?
I think the bludgeon comes in, but the landlord is is big enough that the first attack actually comes just over the ankle,
Mm-hmm.
um, right? And there's a soft crack, but that might be as much the sound of like broken moth bones as anything else.
Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And he staggers and he looks over at you, and you can see he didn't care for that one little bit. And his eyes swivel, and you feel him draw in breath as if he's about to unleash that giant coughing moth cloud at you. But then he stops and he thinks about it, and his lips curl into this awful rictus grin. Anything else happening on your turn?
So there's another thing that I can do with come out swinging.
Yep,
At the end of my turn, I can take cover as an immediate action, but I automatically fail.
yep.
What do I gain as a result of the take cover? Is that adding a sheltered tag?
Yeah, so you can take one of two different tags. There's elevated, which gives you advantage on your combat rolls as long as you've got it. Sheltered, which gives you kind of 1 point of damage reduction for any resolve or wound damage you would take. And the failure state simply means that to claim it, you have to either mark a resolve or let me put one more threat token in your space.
Okay. So I think I'm going to take a sheltered tag on my space and give you a threat.
Perfect. Go ahead and mark yourself with sheltered on your. There's a just check that little box,
Yep.
and you are good to go. And you said threat.
Yes, thank you.
Excellent news.
I don't want a backseat drive. I'm just gonna offer tips and then I will shut up again. But Mike, you do have an item that will allow you to restore 4 resolve if you use it. The more threat you have in your space, the more nasty things can happen.
Uh-huh.
So if you wanted to mark 1 resolve, you will restore resolve faster. Threat is just stuff that the GM can use to make it nastier for us. Just giving you the full context for that one.
Sure. I will go ahead and take that advice in this case if that is okay.
Yeah, of course.
All right, so I will mark an additional resolve to do that. Thanks, Alex.
Perfect. Okay. So the landlord, having heard this little conversation, and the landlord doesn't really understand what it means to mark a resolve and watch for the threat token. So he kind of gives you guys a dirty look, and And then his eyes come back to Secundus, sitting right up there, having just come in and just given him a pop with that big old nasty bludgeon the size of a golden retriever, and just looks over and just says, "I think it's time for an inspection." And these impossibly sharp hands dart over at you. He is going to do a surprise inspection attack, as it was foretold. Because you have a threat in your area, what I'm going to do is I'm going to burn that, and it means you're going to add 2 to the results of your defense roll. Now, the good news for you is the defense roll is going to be sharp. The bad news is you are alone in the area, so this is going to be a particularly a potentially deadly attack. And you so go ahead and give us a sharp roll with a sorry. Before you do with let's see. Okay, 15. Got it. So yeah, so you feel these hands just kind of stab through you, and he just kind of he's looking around you and just making comments on just kind of like, just look at the state of you, look at the state of this room, and you can just feel him just tearing through your body, as he looks around and just gibbers. So he's talking about how angry he is, but you can just feel the pleasure in being able to deliver this punishment. Secundus, please mark 4 wounds on your sheet. that's his attack. He does also get one more thing to do. He gets a maneuver.
Oh,
Um,
sorry, a question
yeah.
on damage.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um, if I spend sheltered, there's some damage reduction,
So sheltered for you is, let's see, trying to remember exactly how it
right?
works. I'm
And
looking.
swinging gives you double the listed damage reduction.
Yes, exactly. So normally this would give you one wound protection. You can discard it now and get two wound protection, so you'd only take two damage.
Okay, I will do that.
That seems wise. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so some of these claws you're able to kind of just get behind. What type of terrain did you hide behind when you took that shelter?
I think this is probably like a heap of discarded bones that have been like cobbled together into like some kind of desk.
Mm,
And after the swing, Secundus kind of moved forward with the momentum, putting some amount of solid between him and the entity.
beautiful, beautiful. So
Was it
so
also painted beige?
That's amazing.
Is that the
wa-
landlord special?
wow. Okay.
Mm.
So the first thing that happens is when he reaches his hands through, just this burst of bone into the air just kind of scatters, and the initial claw marks, you dodge the attack. So it's just two wounds for you instead.
Got it. That's wounds not resolved.
Exactly. Yeah. So defending, you basically got three levels of defense. Your standard, or, sorry, superior success or a critical success mean you take no damage whatsoever. A standard success means you'll take resolve damage from the weapon, and then a failure is you'll take the wound damage from the weapon.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, so he does that, and then and you can see he looks around. He's just kind of like, "We'll come back to you," but his eyes then whip around, and this neck you could just hear the cricking as his head whips around to stare at Orkiv, and just his tongue licks his lips, and you can feel the stench of his breath as he dips his chin to his chest and says, "I've got a bone to pick with you." Um, Actually, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't, because there's no one else in your space with you. No, he doesn't do that at all. What he does instead is he takes a deep breath and shrugs off the resolve, and just says, "Well, I'm still waiting
Ooh.
for my eggs." At the end of his turn, he is going to place four threat tokens. He's going to place one back here. He's going to place one over here. And he's going to place two, not there, right here in ranged. That's the end of his turn, and now it's over to
Ooh.
Orkiv.
I should have said earlier, and feel free to discard it.
Mm.
When I am in close, the entity suffers. Sorry, so did it take any wounds from the bludgeon attack?
It did take wounds from the bludgeon attack.
Oh no, wait, sorry, that was when he's bleeding. Sorry, I meant the other one.
Right.
When
The
it's in
interrupt,
No,
when
who is it
yeah,
below?
your leash is what you're thinking of, right?
yeah, when I'm close, the entity position like use interrupt, so it should have suffered the resolve damage from the first interrupt it did against Dismas.
Got it. So it had two resolve, so that should have been three. He still clears
Okay.
all three from the shrug off, but the point is taken. We'll watch for that.
Good
Yeah.
to know.
Yes, while I'm in close and the entity is bleeding, we all get +0/+1 to our attacks from close. And it takes a resolve damage anytime it tries using an interrupt or repositioning an ally.
Good thing he's not
Good to
bleeding.
know.
Yet.
Yet.
Hmm. Okay.
But I think Orca, you just see like he just pulls out this very blank looking book, just in black leather, but you just hear the room darken as it just whispers around. And yes, you do. Why did you that? He's like, yes, we'll get to that. We'll get to that soon. I'm just gonna, and he pulls out this. Orkib is a very filthy looking guy. He looks like he probably hasn't bathed since he was born. Still has bits of placenta stuck to him.
Oh God.
Thanks
Not
for
necessarily
that.
his own. Um,
Wow.
But he pulls out this incredibly clean, very pointed stiletto knife, and he just shanks the landlord.
Okay. Well, so that is going to be a target number of 9, and you're going to
Mhm.
be doing that with quick, I believe.
That is indeed quick.
All right, but he's not very quick, right? Right?
You know what I'm gonna do? In
Mm,
fact, I'm gonna focus instead.
okay.
I'm gonna
Oh.
spend it immediately.
Okay. Okay. So, you're
When I
quick.
focus in close, you hear the book starting. You will take a 1 resolve damage to the entity, please.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put another threat in your space for that.
I mean, that's just automatic, but sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're damaging the entity, right? Right? Just checking. Yeah. If I'm playing it wrong, put it in the comments. Oh yeah, the comments are off for YouTube. Ha ha ha. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Um, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna use quick, and it's gonna be with advantage, so I'll roll twice.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's a failure on the first one, and a failure on the second one.
Okay. So the landlord kind of
Uh,
looks at you and just kind of says, "That book sounds foreign," and just kind of gives you a disapproving look.
Oh, the greatest of sins.
Yeah. Anything else for Orkiv?
the end of my turn, I have nothing else I can do. Using items is an action, correct? Like it's a full maneuver. It's not an immediate action.
Depending on the item, yes. So your item is vitriol, which is
Oh no,
immediate. So
mine's immediate. Never
yeah.
mind. Oh, never mind. Yep, but I don't need to do anything right now. I'll just
Okay.
stay right where I am and look at these very threatening-looking moths in my area.
Okay. The threatening looking moths. I'm glad you asked. Okay. Um, so the landlord at the end of your turn just takes that deep breath and just the moths come rocketing at you because there is an extra threat in your space for triggering that. I will add 2 to your hard roll, so that'll be a hard roll for
Take a
Orciv.
resolve damage, please.
Yes, yes, okay, cool. Go ahead and put that one of those back. Um, and so that's hard for Orciv. Adding to. Okay, go ahead and make your roll.
Oh, this is not going to go well. Yep, that's critical failure. That
Sure
was worse
is.
than I thought.
Okay,
Well,
got it. What does that look like? For was is a
I think just like Orkiv moving closer, just going full Scooby Doo creeping motion with the knife,
mm-hmm.
and just like wherever it pierces, it doesn't pierce through the landlord. It just pierces through a random pipe,
Mm,
and just gets a full. You've seen Labradors with water hoses in gardens,
mm-hmm.
but it's moths, and it's Orkiv's face. So it's just-
Yeah, there's a little sign up on your shoulder that says "Moths Welcome," and they just. Excellent news for you though. You take 0 wounds. Um, Bad news, you take 1 curse token.
Yay.
And you'll notice when you mark yourself up with that 1 curse that your maximum resolve is going to drop
Mhm.
because
I'm sure that's fine.
you got a moth in you, couple moth buddies. You can feel them still fluttering inside your chest, and I can't say you care for it much. That is, let's see, the top of the order again. So Dismas or Secundus, either of you can go next.
Do you have a preference, sir?
I don't. So if you'd like to go, please proceed.
Yeah, I will go ahead and take another pistol shot from here, kind of, you know, squinting through the increasingly thick clouds of moths clouding the area, and just make another regular old sharp attack.
Okay, sounds good.
With this target number. All right, we'll do that.
Yep, yep. All
Okay,
right, it's a
another
success.
success. So
Another.
that's another two resolve.
Very nice, very nice. One more threat in your area. It's fine.
Okay,
And mark off one of your capacity if you would, please.
of course.
Then one
And
more
then,
action.
yep, as my maneuver, I am going to move to ranged front because it's getting crowded over here.
Okay.
Um, or rather, I will if it lets me move my token, which it
Ah,
doesn't seem.
so click on the token first, and then
Oh,
once
there we are. Okay. Yep,
yeah,
yep, yep. I see what
it's
happened. It's the
someone just
nature of
earlier
Google
today
Sheets.
described Google Sheets as the most hostile environment to develop a VTT in that you can think of, and that is
But it looks very nice for what it's worth.
well, thank you very
Um,
much.
and as a lovely bonus, because I'm lightning fast, when I move, I automatically guard, which functionally means I recover a
Yes, you
resolve.
do. Very nice. Go for it.
So that is done, and so am I.
Got it. Okay, so you can tell the landlord was really excited about delivering a bunch of moths at your direction,
Hmm.
but look at that. He's lost track of you. You're no longer standing on this big pile of threat. So instead, he looks back over his shoulder and just says, "Well, when all you got is a hammer," and he just coughs once again at Orkiv. Uh,
Take a
Orkiv.
resolve damage, please.
Yes, 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 absolutely. All right, here we go. Boop. Go ahead and give me a hard check of target number 10. All right. So it's getting crowded. You've got another family of moths coming in, and you can hear them kind of striking up conversations. You think some of them might be hanging up laundry. Go ahead and give yourself another curse token if you would, please.
Uh, One of us must leave now.
You're a little tiny voice. Squatters' rights, man. And all right, so your maximum resolve is now 4. It's not great. It could be worse. It's fine. Um, that's the end of the interrupt phase. On to Secundus.
Okay. So looking at my abilities, I realized that not understanding everything about the game, I think I took the exact wrong ability as my tier one armor
Ah,
ability.
got it. Yep,
Because from what I can tell, I don't have a way of expending ready because blockade doesn't require expending it. Am I
correct.
reading that correctly?
You are
Would it
correct. So
would it
yeah,
be okay for me to swap that out for something else at tier
absolutely,
one?
absolutely.
Thank you.
This is an introduction to the rules, after all. So,
All right. So I'm gonna be stoic instead.
yep, yep, yep. So start of your
So
Gains
turn.
relevance.
at the start of my turn, when I'm ready, I restore one resolve.
Yeah, very nice. Okay.
And then what I'm gonna do is maneuver to front
Mm-hmm.
and then take a swing. So this one, right, the bludgeon kind of sparks off of some chunks of stone on the ground, and then this is a big kind of horizontal swing.
Mm-hmm. Got it. So going right at the waist. Perfect. Okay, go ahead and give us a strong check with the target number 9. Oof. Yeah, right in the giblets. Tell us what that looks like.
So right, this one comes much higher and hits at about maybe the hip.
Mm-hmm.
And this cracking is almost certainly actually preternatural bone.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, and you can see him. Like he is, and up at the very top of the screen, you have a little readout showing how he's doing. He is now annoyed and hurt. You can see he is walking with a limp, and he just kind of just snarls at you as his body kind of picks itself up a little bit and just kind of puts a finger out in front of you and just kind of like, oh, you'll get interest on that payment, my friend. Um, that said, it's not his turn yet, so he doesn't do anything. So you've done a move. You have done the attack. End of your turn, you can do the same thing and claim terrain if you like at the low cost of either uh, one resolve or one threat token.
I will claim sheltered for a resolve. I already
Perfect.
marked the resolve for my bludgeon attack, and
Okay.
then now the new one for taking cover, and then I'm done.
Perfect. All right. Okay. It
Sorry,
is.
just so I can learn what's going on here.
Yeah.
I thought claiming terrain was counted as a maneuver.
It usually is for the bludgeon. If you take a look at
Oh, that's
Secundus's
the
sheet,
bludgeon ability.
yeah,
Okay,
exactly,
got it, got it,
exactly.
got it,
He's
got it.
essentially, the bludgeon doesn't want you to waste time doing.
Right. I see it now. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So, all
Yeah, I
right.
guess we could also think of this as just the bludgeon itself as cover. Might be
True.
a way of doing that.
Yeah, absolutely,
You're
absolutely.
basically carrying a telephone pole around. So.
Yeah, it just gets really nasty and big when it starts hitting things.
Beautiful. All right.
I think Mike described the bludgeon as, yeah, massive scepter with blood and ichor seeping that never quite gets clean. So, you
Yeah.
know.
Perfect. Yeah. So yeah, you can absolutely hide behind that. Yeah. And it's just kind of, but as every time you do, you can hear it just kind of just saying, "What am I? A goddamn shield? No, get in there, right in the fucking jaw." And just but it's your bludgeon. You both of you know who's actually holding the hand and which and what and who's being held. So, anything else at the end of your turn before we turn it over to the landlord?
No, I think that's it. Thanks.
Perfect. Okay. So the landlord, the aforementioned bone to pick. First thing he is going to do. Let's see. All right. So Orkiv, you've got a couple curse, yeah. So the landlord's eye just briefly looks over his shoulder right before he ponders what he's going to do to Secundus, and he said, "I suppose you knew this would come due sooner or later." And he just you feel just one of his fingers flicks idly over your shoulder, and you feel your body twist a little bit as parts of your body that are on the inside suddenly seem to be struggling to get on the outside as he is trying to collect his rent from you. I need you to roll to make a hard check, and you're going to add your curse to your die result. So that's going to be 2 for you.
Come on, give me one good roll. I haven't rolled one. No, come on!
Oh,
All right, cool. So, okay, so Orkiv, yeah, you feel just like blood streams from your nose. It doesn't drip to the ground. It just kind of like zips through the air, and the landlord catches it on his tongue and just kind of just runs it along his lips and just says, "Ah, there's nothing like the taste of desperation." Orkiv, I need you to mark
Oi,
one.
mate, who's desperate?
I need you to mark one wound,
Yes.
and the entity is going to restore 5 resolve.
I think
Oh,
with
this
the
is the
entity
time to
lapses
use the
out of
thing.
tongue,
it's vitriol o'clock.
it's
Yeah.
vitriol o'clock.
Okay. What does that look like exactly?
Oh, it's very much like whatever Orkif puts in his body,
Hmm.
and now that the landlord is taking it out, I think it's just like, oh, you don't know where I've been, mate.
So so
I
so
wouldn't put my mouth on that.
so so
That's
the
been inside me. That's a bad idea.
so so something mixes with the blood as it goes over, and you just get you can see that even this guy who's just used to like damp rot, he's just completely skeeved out. Ugh. He's like, the hell, and he just kind of shoots this accusatory look at you. Um,
Doesn't lick people without asking.
and his neck kind of cricks slowly back around to the front. He looks back at Secundus and he says, "Well, that was deeply unsatisfying." And he is going to ponder you and just says, "I think what's required here is to make an example of one of you." And his hands dart out at you. And Secundus, I need you to make a quick check. You're going to add 2 for the threat in your space, and the quick check is going to be with a target number of 12. So let's go ahead and mark that up. And I'm going to take away your threat because we're using that to boost the roll. Let's see what happens.
Hey.
Perfect. Okay, you take 4 resolve, but no wounds.
Okay.
So,
And,
Jim Ellie,
yes.
question.
Mm.
The roll was a 6. plus the 2 from the threat is an 8. Does
Yep.
that make it into a critical success, or does it have to be a roll of the die?
So this is an excellent question. So the way that I've been interpreting this is that I check for critical success, and the code does this as well. I check critical success before I apply any adjustments. So the reason I do that is that if you're sitting on a pile of 4 threat and your stat is 7, I still want you to have a chance of doing a critical success. I don't
Okay,
know if that's exactly how it will be in the final rules, but I never want it to be a point where there's no point for you to bother trying to roll.
okay.
So this has kept us in the success range, but not a critical. So
Got it.
uh,
Very cool.
so resolve dealt. He has made 1 maneuver. He has made 1 attack. He now needs to place his 4 threat, 2 in ranged. We're going to go ahead and put 1 here. Let's
He
put 1
doesn't
there.
need to.
Well, no, the rules as written. There's
Well, this is
the
this is the one thing that Grant never remembered to do, right?
look. The housing code is very very clear on this. You must at the end of every turn place 2 threat and 2 in range and 2 in. It's it's written down. That's the end of the landlord's awful turn, and now it's over to Orkiv.
Well, I think we're going to try doing the same thing again and see if I can finally roll one fucking success. Um, I'm going to focus as a maneuver, which is going to deal 1 resolve damage to the entity as the book starts whispering again.
Ow! Quit it.
Um, and then I am going to. Yeah. What was it? Weird 11, close 9. Yeah, we'll try one more time with a knife.
All right.
So that's going to be hard 10, no, quick 10.
Oh, sorry, and you don't add anything. So let's sorry. Well, go ahead and re-roll that.
Well, I'm gonna re-roll anyway because so that would have been a 20,
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. But
and that's a failure anyway. So there we go.
okay. Okay. So you're behind the landlord, essentially doing some sort of some sort of butterfly knife dance, right? And
Yeah, I'm dancing with the moths, and they are getting in the way.
and the landlord just says, "You're a very confusing and gross individual," but
Thanks.
does not take any damage. So anything else at the end of your turn?
That was a maneuver. That was an action. No, I am gonna have to skedaddle out of here on the next turn though,
Fair
because it's
enough.
getting nasty.
All right, top of the order. Dismiss or Secundus. Either of you can go.
I'd love to go first this time because
Feel
I'm
free.
quite beat up resolve wise.
Yeah.
Is it a maneuver to use my equipment, the Sacred Relic?
Let's take a quick peek here. The Sacred Relic, yes, that is 1 maneuver. So unless it says immediate, it'll take one of your actions.
Okay, so right before swinging, uh, Secundus kind of reaches into a coat pocket and kind of chanting a prayer, pulls out a much nicer looking bone, properly bleached, not patinaed, and crushes the bone, drawing in the kind of dust of the bone because this is a sanctified relic of insert name of saint from several hundred years ago. TKTK.
Oh, Saint TK. Yeah, we all know him.
Saint TK, yeah. Saint TK the incomplete. And this will give me back 4 resolve.
Perfect.
Also, at the start of your turn, because of Stoic, you gain 1 resolve anyway,
Yep.
if you are
So
ready.
I go from quite roughed to not nearly in as bad a position, and then invigorated by this, takes the bludgeon up in both hands and kind of swings high.
Nice. Okay, so it's going to be once again be a check. Let me take you down. We're not adding anything to this roll. So strong of 14 with a close. All
Okay, so
right.
16 success.
Got it. So he's able to dodge a little bit out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and mark him off 3 resolve. He is absolutely winded, and then that does place a threat in your space. And the
Yep.
landlord just kind of says points an accusing finger at you and says, "Bones should be left by the bins and back." And
All right, and I've marked my resolve for the bludgeon, so I'm done.
perfect. And you're already still sheltered, so you can switch from shelter to elevate if you want to do that. But I don't see any reason for you to do that necessarily.
And the elevated is the one that will give you an advantage on attack if you use it.
Correct. And I'm double checking here just to make sure I've got it right. So let's
Is it
see.
just me?
Let's see. If you do not have a
Hmm.
terrain tag, you get a free one. But so in this case,
Right.
since you do have a terrain tag, I think you're
Okay, and I think I want to stay sheltered because that's the one that I can use for come out swinging.
sounds good. Okay. Um, the landlord's going to just keep his eyes focused on you, and just before you know it, he's just retched up another mouthful of mods that are just kind of swimming in at you. Um, so I think he's going to go ahead and do that. So Secundus, give me a hard check with a TN of 10.
Mark on resolve damage, please.
Would you? Okay. He is
Rules
now.
are rules, man.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put one more threat in your space, motherfucker. Okay.
All right.
Um, and
You
And
can't because you've already reached your cap of 10. I counted.
one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Am I seeing nine? Is there something wrong with my eyes?
One, two, three, four, five, six, seven,
I
eight.
see
Oh, it is
nine.
9 now. It is 9 now, yes.
Yeah, because I've
yeah,
been spending it.
Oh, because you spend them on the interrupt. Yes, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm gonna dump them all on you, man. Just see how it gets. Um, all right,
all right.
Secundus, give us a hard check if you would, and we'll
And that's
add
I'm adding two from it to it from the threat or from the
exactly.
move.
There were
Okay.
two threat. I took that, so we lost them both. Yep.
Okay, that's a
Okay,
failure.
got it. So you good news, you take no wounds. Bad news is you do get a curse.
I've heard great things about these curses.
Yep, and the curse is essentially free
Is what you
mods.
heard about him, yeah.
Yep. So I will go ahead and mark that for you. Got one there. That does not actually cause resolve damage. So you're still at five resolve, but your maximum has gone down to seven.
Got it.
So okay, beautiful
Mods
moths
with every purpose.
moths everywhere. Okay, and then Dismas. I think it's over to you.
I'm pondering if I should do something fancy here. Um, because I feel like, let me ask for those of you who have maybe done this before, do we, as long as we've got his resolve kind of low before he gets an action, do we want to try and break him now? I feel like that would be the right thing.
I couldn't say
So
It does help if I unmute.
that's
Um,
true.
I was thinking, I don't know, and I even if I did, I wouldn't remember. I would play it as if I don't remember it.
Sure.
But when entities
So I'm
break,
sure he's going to
something
do
nasty
something
happens.
unpleasant. Yeah. But I mean, we're gonna have to get through that eventually, right?
Unless we just keep going through wound attacks. But also, you do have your extra ammo would restore your full capacity, and then you do have the unload, which you can
Right.
spend
That's
both
exactly
attack.
what I was thinking
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
to basically use the ammo and now and then just unload on him.
Mm.
So what the heck? Let's give it a shot or three. Um,
Because
So
I mean, worst that can happen, you deal 6 resolve or 3 wounds,
so
right?
right.
I
I mean it mhm,
so let the record show. I am
mhm,
kindly. Here's something else you can do. Right. Before since using your extra ammo is immediate, it won't take one of your actions. So
mhm.
before you do your attack, you get to use your first action to claim an elevated tag, and then when you
Right.
unload, every one of those attacks will be made with advantage.
You can
That would
only
be
unload by spending both attack and maneuver.
Never
right.
mind. Never mind. I'm a
Yes, I
terrible
did have
game master.
you know, well, I think I'm going to do it anyway. I'd love to have the advantage, but I'll take what I can get.
Perfect.
So yes, I will expend the ammo box
Hmm.
to refill my capacity, and then I'm just going to take all three of those shots with chalk
All
and
right.
give it this fella.
There. Let's see. So you're at
Uh,
ranged. So that's
yep.
13 defense, and you're going to
Hmm.
use sharp at range. So that's all looking good. So yeah, just give us
Yep.
three attacks.
All right. We have one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, up to a three
Beautiful.
ain't bad.
Perfect. So here's what happens. First thing that happens, we're going to do these one at a time. The first one hits,
Mhm.
it's a success, which takes away both of his remaining resolve. He is now broken. And as he is
Mhm.
broken, he falls to one knee, and then his eyes flash up, and he says, "Oh, if you all keep this up, the whole place will come down around you." And he just slams one gaunt hand into the ground, and you all feel the floor buckle under you. Everyone take 2 resolve damage immediately,
Okay.
Boo.
and you feel the moths that are surrounding him just kind of grow in intensity, and something about their wings, you just kind of can see the extra layers of mold begin to form and crystallize, and and their wings beat a little more slowly, just kind of like bogged down. Never mind though, it's fine. That's the first attack. And then the second attack is a success, but it's a standard success, but he's broken. So what that means is you go straight to delivering a wound. So I'm going to go ahead and then shift this last bit of threat over into your spot. Um,
That seems
he's
fair.
hurt. He's not looking good.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point, isn't it? Bring the place down.
It's like,
Time for some
Yeah,
urban
it's
renewal.
easy to pick through the rubble.
all right. So it is
That's
the
all I
land.
got.
It is the landlord's turn, and he is getting increasingly desperate, and his breath is coming in these huge, wet gasps. And he looks around and just says, "This won't do. It's mine, and I want what is owed of me." And he is going to.
Commander. Yeah.
l- he- He's you can this impossibly long bony arm just lunges all the way across out in front over the shoulder of Secundus and grabs at Dismas. He is going to try to make an example of Dismas. Dismas, I'm going to have you make a quick check with a target number of 12. And here's the problem: you're in a space with 3 threats, so we're going to add 6 to your defense roll on
Hmm.
that one.
Not a fan, but not a lot I can do about it at this point.
It
So
is what it is.
here goes nothing. Oh, well,
All right. Dismas, take 2 wounds if you would, please.
okay.
Could have been worse.
Yeah,
Let's see.
he's just too fast. I was not expecting it coming the way it is, and he got me good with those bony claws.
And you can feel he just kind of as he pulls his hands back, and some of your blood just on his fingertips, and he sniffs at it now, and just kind of and leers a little bit, and just says, "I am going to get mine." And as a second action, he is going to flick the finger over at Secundus and just say, "The rent has come due." And Secundus, I need you to just do a pure strong check. No target number. You just need to roll under your strong, and you're going to add your 1 curse to that roll. So go ahead and give us a roll when you're ready. Oh, you've already done it. Okay, it's a 1. Add 1 for equals 2. You've succeeded. Yeah, you're so on a success. It just says place 2 threat. Cool. I'll go ahead and place 1 here, and I'll place 1 here. All right. That's the entity's 2 actions. It gets to place the 4 threat at the end of its turn. 1, 2, and then he's out of threat to place. It's going to go 3, and then he'll shift 1. And that's it. Now it's time for Orkiv.
Yeah, Orchid is getting out of that.
Be wise.
Uh huh. Uh huh. Fair.
Just gonna move over and flank left.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're just gonna risk it and just Hmm. I mean, it's not bleeding. If I hit it now, I could take it down. We're gonna try, but it's broken, so it'll just do knife. It'll just do wound damage.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, we'll try. I'll just do a quick. I'll just a knife attack.
Mm-hmm.
Just a knife going. Yeah, yeah, just slide right in between his limbs. And by limbs, I meant ribs, but
Sure,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's got libs too.
They're also between the limbs.
yes, it's also between the limbs.
All
So
right.
that is a quick versus close.
Oh, close is 9. Yeah, for sure. What am I doing? Setting out a 13 for you. Okay.
Come on, one. I just need one success. There
Ah,
it is.
Yeah,
There it
nice.
is.
tell us
Special
what it
bonus
looks
success.
like as you get your thing in there. The good news. So he's bleeding. It's also academic. So yeah, tell us what it looks like as you deliver this finishing blow.
I think it's like slide. Like it doesn't even look like the knife is sliding in. It's like surgical precision. It goes exactly where it needs to go, and then when it gets pulled back, that preternatural bone cracking sound from Secundus's bludgeon. You hear it again as the knife just like, flicks through, like almost like opening a key in a keyhole, and then moths pour out.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful. And so he howls once as all of these moths leave his body, and his eyes are furious. But then just as he kind of staggers and coughs, for a second they turn pleading, and they turn frightened. And for a second it's almost like there's a different face that kind of flashes across this horrible, grim, gaunt monstrosity. But then it's gone, and he's slumping to the ground, and he has fallen. Congratulations, all! You have defeated the landlord.
Huzzah!
Nice.
So yeah, so in the standard game at this point, we would have the hunters all engage in a baptism. So essentially, you would describe how your weapons are going to basically take part of some of the essence of this fallen creature, and essentially each everyone gets to unlock one new ability for one of their weapons. So the more of these guys you fight during the course of a hollow, the more you level up, the more you get to activate new powers, new combos, new abilities. But for now, I think that's it. And yeah, any questions or just kind of reactions?
I mean, it seems obviously this is my first Hollows fight. Um, I was kind of expecting, and again, I've got limited background. Like when he was first broken, a lot of times you'll see an entity has some kind of way to get resolve back,
Mm-hmm.
because it sort of seems like without that, once you get in there, it's a pretty steep slope going down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that may be intentional. I mean, this I I expected this to be a little bit tougher, but again, we're coming in with some level 2 abilities, so I don't know
Yeah.
if that's a fair comparison.
Yeah, so that last round, right? So the ability that I was trying to use there, that red comes due. It was kind of a calculated gamble, right? I
Hmm.
was the safe thing to do would have been to just to do shrug off and give him 3 resolve, but I wanted to try to get 5 resolve, and I thought I could do that with the rent comes due ability.
Hmm.
But in order for that to give him the 5 resolve, I would have needed you to fail that test. You didn't, so but yeah,
So it
so
shows.
he does have things that do kind of keep the resolve topped up. Every time
Hmm.
he breaks a hunter, he's going to go ahead and restore 2 resolve. And over the course of the fight, there's a couple. I mean, you guys did roll really well in a couple places. Well, okay, most
Hmm.
of you. Sorry, Alex, but yeah, no, I think you guys just. I mean, you came in with a good game plan, and you made it work.
Yeah, it was kind of rough that like you weren't able to get any of the resolve back in that last round because
Hmm.
I think I saw you trying to get 5 back, and I was
Yeah.
like, I already used my vitriol.
Hmm. That vitriol was clutch. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
for sure. Yeah.
yeah. That was it just being able to
Yeah,
get to that
there's
point
a
where it was
reason they've
broken.
axed it from the final game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Oh,
no.
really? Is it out?
Yeah, vitriol is has been declared absolutely overpowered, and that's exactly why. So,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, so yeah, there are definitely harder fights. I think that. The other thing that I probably would have done differently is I did make an example twice, which is essentially a 4-2 attack. And surprise inspection is probably the one to really focus on, which essentially, if you target a hunter in close who's all alone, it's a 6-4 attack with a target number of 14 to defend. So
Oh
that,
yeah, you could have kept doing that to Orkiv,
yeah,
and yeah, either Orkiv or Secundus, and we just would have died immediately.
yeah. So we'll call that operator error on my part, but
We're
um,
all learning.
yeah, but yeah. So any thoughts about the system? I mean, just things you liked, things you didn't like, things that you wish were different, or anything at all.
I mean, I'm really enjoying it so far. I mean, I'm a fan of the sort of lighter tactical stuff. I'm a big board gamer, so this kind of scratches the role playing ish. And I love the way you made the whole thing very evocative and not just a mechanics test.
Mm,
Um, Obviously, I think the big challenge point for this for a lot of people is getting used to the roles being quote unquote backwards
yeah,
compared to what you're used to. I mean, I love what it does. The fact that you've got kind of two target numbers that you're comparing to, but it does take a little bit to wrap your brain around.
yeah. The first time that you play in the game with someone new and they're like, "Oh, I got a 20, yeah, natural 20," and you're like, "Okay,
No.
guess what? That means you biffed it." You're like, "What? But." Um, and then when they're kind of like, "Well, I rolled a one. That's great." And it's like, "No, that's just pretty good." And it's like, "Well, what the hell do you want from me?" So yeah, it takes getting used to. What I usually do when I'm playing in person is the first 2 rounds of combat. I'll do all the interpretation, and then the third round of combat, I ask the player, okay, so what did you roll? What is that? Right, and then just kind of have them kind of learn to do it. It is it is a learning curve for sure.
Yeah. And I will say that the little sort of spreadsheet VTT you've built out here is very impressive and makes things much easier.
Oh,
So I
thank you
could
very
certainly
much.
see using that in the future.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So I had a question uh, that may not be relevant for folks who've played like demo games that have more than just the entity fight. How much do earlier encounters tend to wear the hunters down?
Mm. Yeah, so I have done well. So Grisham Priory doesn't have a lot of stuff that really wears the hunters down, and I think it's designed mostly to kind of get the hunters in to the fights early and often. Um, the two hollows that I came up with, I've basically built in stuff right where essentially I like to build in things that'll kind of give you more of the backstory, will give you insight into what happened, and kind of get you at the why. And then also kind of like dangle things. Like it's like one of them. There's carnival games at this fair, and you can win prizes. And the downside is if you do poorly, you ratchet up the clock. And the doom track is kind of the ticking clock in the game. That the higher it goes, the harder the fights get. The worse things will get overall. So the game does kind of try to kind of keep that tension of saying you want to get to the story, but it's not just a question of kind of mechanically like we want to get a fight and we want to get it done. If your team really wants to do more of the exploration and they want to do more of a narrative thing, I think the game supports that really well.
Cool, thanks.
Sure thing.
I'll also say I've only run Gresham Priory. I've only run the quick start without any of the rule changes since. And the first fight can actually be quite brutal in a way that then the vicar isn't quite as much, and the tailor can be in response. But the tailor introduces curse in a way that the hound doesn't.
Hmm.
The hound is the very first fight, so people are still like understanding how it works. And the what's it, grab and shake is a very fun ability of just like hitting a number of like multiple hunters in the same area.
Hmm.
Um, and then yeah, and then it just basically leads up to having the final bishop fight as a yeah, it's not really a wearing down, but it is a gradual learning curve that is built into the quick start, which I think was really clever.
Yeah.
Cool.
The thing that I think is really interesting about the system, and one of the reasons that I've kind of tried to like kind of lean in a little bit on designing entities that are kind of riding that line between they feel deadly, but they also feel they don't feel overwhelmingly punishingly brutal, is
Unfairly deadly.
right, exactly. It's you don't want to basically come in and just the first hit takes you out, right? But I do really like fights where you have a hunter fall, right? Because that essentially opens up your exposure to a whole new set of mechanics, right? This whole notion that when you fall in combat, uh, you basically come back to life immediately. It's like a Souls type game, right? But you come back a little weirder, right? You get some corruption, and now maybe you start seeing echoes from your life before you got this seed planted in you and became a hunter. And the more that happens, the more you fall and the more you come back. In some ways, you get more powerful, but you're also then running up against what's kind of the retirement plan for a hunter, which is either you quit and you stay in the refuge forever and you say I'm never going out again because I feel like I'm at my breaking point, or you pass the breaking point, you go hollow, and then your friends have to decide, are we going to go in and try to rescue him or just put him out of his misery?
Yeah, you become the nation.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep. And yeah, and that player gets to be the GM for that next session. So
I'm imagining the campaign frame where the kind of starting impetus is a member of your band has just become an entity, right? And then you do shared world building about like creating who this person was so that you have a stronger like immediate personal connection for folks that are looking to lean on the RP side.
yeah,
I
there's
wonder if they've developed any of the hollows in that way, because like every all of the hollows we've seen so far have been it's an external entity, but I really like that suggestion.
there was one of the things they were doing early on during the backer kit campaign is they were kind of designing like the bare bones of a hollow around one of the players, just like what you said, right? And the whole idea was that um, she wasn't the center of the hollow, but essentially the reason that she had kind of gone out and become a hunter was that um, her her suitor she had rejected, and he had basically then just taken vengeance on her entire family and burned her family house to the ground. And so her suitor, her would be boyfriend, did go hollow, and so she's basically trying to figure out the right time to come in and deal with that, and kind of building up a team of people that can come in and do that. So they talked about kind of, so what would that look like? Where did this fateful encounter happen? It was in the garden. Okay, so the garden is where the final thing will happen. What are the other figures who would kind of surround her? Who else would get pulled in with her? And it's a really cool process of kind of figuring out like building a story around kind of a central figure and what did the worst day of their life look like, and then how did uh, that incident kind of grow and envelop other people around them, and how did they get affected. Um, it's it's a neat type of storytelling. I've never done anything quite like it, and it's kind of addictive.
Yeah, I remember them talking about that on some of the backer kit sessions, and it looked good. One thing I was going to ask, as because I'm viewing this more as a potential GM than a player, although I'm always happy to play. Um, are there going to be? I mean, I'm assuming there's going to be some level of guidelines for building your entities.
Hmm.
But I mean, because it seems like there would be a lot of, at least at first here, a lot of just kind of eyeballing things. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess how mechanical are those guidelines looking to be, if you know, if they're written yet?
I've not seen what Grant and Chris have written yet, but I think from what I've heard, the way that they've approached it is that they want you to basically think about it in terms of vibes first, and the
Hmm.
numbers. The way that Grant put it is just kind of like we kind of want to give people a general direction of how deadly or simple an attack or an action or an interrupt should be, but then we want the table and the GM to be able to kind of adjust that on the fly, right? So
Okay.
I think that but that said, I've I've published a small document on how to design entities, which looks at if you don't know where to start, try these numbers, right? It's like is this the first thing that people fight? Is this going to be the easy fight that you want to use to kind of get the wind under their sails? Start with numbers along these lines, right? And
Hmm.
what they come up with is going to be better. I am not an award-winning game designer, uh, but uh, but I think that there's a lot of stuff you can kind of just work out in terms of, if you've played any of the Souls type games, you know what types of things are harder to deal with, right? Okay, it's an area of effect attack. It's going to hit everyone in this whole area, or here's something that makes it so you can't use one of your abilities. You can't focus because there's too much noise, or
Right.
there's going to be an area that's been marked off. That's impassable, and I think that. There's a lot of trial and error so far, at least as
Sure.
far as my stuff is concerned. But there's a lot of fun stuff you can do just with this system. I like the fact that it's so abstract because it means that if your group is more of a tactical group, they don't have to you don't have to do the like describe how you do this. Just it's just kind of get in there, hit it, next person, right?
Hmm.
You can have very very quick fights, and I've run a bunch like that for cons, but yeah, I don't know. I'm a ham. I love doing the voices. I love making the tell us what it looks like as and
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
but you.
Yeah, like a light tactical game that's a convertible to give you more space for RP
Hmm.
is, I think, a promising space that I at least am not as familiar with as many games playing in.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Beans. Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording.